Hey there, fellow Goodbeards. Welcome to the Good Beard Society. I'm Nick. Along with me is Kevin. And how is everybody doing today? Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Nick. Hey, everyone. Glad to have you here today.
Well, I'm excited. I don't know about you, but we have a really special guest on today.
I'm really excited
He
because this guy is incredible. Go ahead, Matt.
he is the owner of mustacheparlor.com. Is the world's largest, should we say, facial hair store.
Yeah, any kind of hair that you want to stick on your face, we'll do
So
that for
mustache.
you.
Nice. So mustacheparlor.com will have
Yeah.
any kind of hair that you want to stick on your face. So it gives us great pleasure to welcome Captain Ron Wolek.
Yay. How are you?
Hey, guys, it's good to be here. What is this annual meeting of the Good Beard Society?
Yes, thank you.
At mustacheparlor.com, we have a motto: if you can't grow one, then you can buy one. But we also want to take care of the beards out there, that for the men and women who have facial hair, and take good care of them. And that's what I immediately saw from Dr. Goodbeard when I visited you guys at the National Beard Championships.
Well, yeah. And for our folks out there, we met Captain Ron at out in Casper, Wyoming at the National Mustache and Beard Championship last November, I believe it was. And we hooked up together and just clicked and thought that our products and his incredible company might be able to join together and chat a little bit about what's going on out there in the mustache and beard world on both sides, our side and Captain Ron's side. And Captain Ron, you were also a Hollywood makeup artist. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm a third generation hair and makeup artist. My grandfather actually had facial hair and mustache clubs back in the 50s. This year is going to be the 70th anniversary of his contest that ended up getting in the newspapers and a bunch of stuff like that. And then my grandmother was a hairdresser, and so was my mother. And I went to school. I wanted to be an animator. I grew up right next to Disney. My mom got recruited by Walt Disney World and became a hair and makeup, legendary hair and makeup artist for that company in the parks division. She helped open up Disney's Animal Kingdom and the Disney Cruise Line shows, and had an integral part in her in their history. I wanted to be an animator, and it seemed pretty good when I was in high school because they had an animation studio here in Florida. Not many people know that the movie Mulan was entirely animated and filmed at Walt Disney World. But shortly after that, when I graduated, I think that Toy Story 2 had come out and traditional animation was no more. I think that Princess and the Frog was actually the last traditionally animated Disney movie. And I think that came out maybe in 2005 or 2004. So I knew I needed something to do where I could be creative and also social. And I decided to fall right in my grandfather's and grandmother's and my mother's footsteps. And I've had a really interesting career. I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I was the head of the hair and makeup department at Disneyland for a couple of years. And also I've taught at the best hair and makeup colleges in Los Angeles and really the country and the world. I've gotten to do all kinds of cool stuff, and I've always had a focus in beards and mustaches and men's hair and facial hair. And prior to like the hipster revolution, no one was really interested in mustaches or anything. If you grew a mustache, like people kind of made fun of you. I had to go through a lot of, I was cool before it was cool. Sometimes that's not fun to deal with. But it worked out in the long run, and I'm still talking about beards and mustaches and focusing on cool stuff like that too. That's the blessing of being a creative person in our time, right? Because we have the internet, We can connect with people. I would have never probably known about the National Beard and Mustache Championship in Wyoming if it was before that time, and how easy it is to get actually, that was crazy too. I had been a hurricane struck Florida and shut down the Orlando airport the day I was supposed to fly to the National Beard Mustache competition. So I barely even made it, but I knew deep in my gut that I had to get there somehow.
That's
And
right.
I
That
thought
was
it was,
that hurricane.
yeah. And I thought it was, when I got there immediately, it was so that I could win the Bigfoot competition, but I lost that, thankfully. I think that's a compliment. And I met you guys instead.
Well, I hope we're an okay
Yeah.
consolation prize.
Yes, exactly.
No
So
one's
now,
going to be confusing me as a Bigfoot being associated with Dr. Goodbeard.
Thanks.
and the
Well,
newest. Oh, I'm sorry.
well, speaking of that, I mean, when from the beard contest, your mustaches and your beards, you've got all different kinds, just like what we do at the contests.
Mhm.
We have different names for our beards and our stashes, and so you. Why don't you tell them what you offer out there?
Yeah, well, I like to tell people first there's the mustache. With mustache in French is hair on the top of your upper lip. We also have the mouche, which is sort of like a soul patch, but it's the hair that grows underneath your lip, that important segment that really completes a beard.
Right.
Also, we sell eyebrow wigs, which actually are really, really easy to. How do I want to say that? You think the eyebrow wig, well, that's going to really make you look like Groucho Marx or something, but you can really camouflage them well to look very natural. And
Right.
sideburns and chops. One of my most popular designs is a huli he that's on the front page of mustacheparlor.com. Huli he is when your mustache connects to your sideburns, and sometimes it's called the friendly mustache because from a distance it looks like a smile because you don't have any hair on your chin. It's just on your upper lip and then connects to some great mutton chops. We also sell chest hair, merkins, and gherkins, which who knew was a popular item too. People still have a need for an honest merkin dealer.
There
Well, I
you
mean,
go.
pubic hair is coming back in style, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everything is kind of cyclical there.
Well,
Well, yeah, I mean, beards
it's some
now, I
things I
mean,
don't.
are
Yeah,
really like I mean, everybody's got a beard out there, it seems like, right?
they should if they don't, especially right
Yeah.
now in the winter months.
Yeah, exactly.
It saved my face more than once.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and on top of that, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
I was going to say, and on top of all of that, you just recently opened the Santa Claus College, right?
Yes. So one of my most popular items is Santa Claus beards. So I've worked on a couple of movies. I got to work on one of Ed Asner's last Santa Claus movies, which a lot of people don't know. Ed Asner had kind of like a side career just performing as Santa Claus in movies. He was also the Santa Claus in Elf, and they put
Right.
him in the Santa Claus Hall of Fame for his performances, right up there with, you know, the guy who was in the Miracle on 34th Street movies, Edward Gwen. And
Yes.
so the Santa Claus performers prefer. We make beards and mustaches from all kinds of materials: human hair and yak hair. Yak hair is the most popular for Santa Claus performers. And
Yak
through
hair.
that,
Where do you get that?
well, there's two places that you want to get your yak hair from: either the belly or the back of the yak.
Okay. Must be
And
the
there's
softest, right?
yeah, and I love talking about the yak because there's a blonde yak and then there's a dark yak. And depending on what kind of character you want to be, you want to make sure, for instance, if you're a Santa Claus, if you have the need to make people believe you're Santa Claus, because there's only one Santa Claus, right?
Right.
And you have a choice when you're shopping for these things, if you want the yak to be the blonde yak or the yak with the dark hair, because over time the yak with the dark hair turns uh, ashy gray color, which is great if you want to be a wizard. So
Yes.
if you want to be a wizard from Harry Potter or something like that, you need
Gandalf
to
the
switch
Grey.
out the yak hair from the dark haired yak, and it should come from the back and not the belly. The back of
Okay.
the yak has more whisker like quality to the hair. So these yaks are, I believe, are native to Asia, and they must be hard to find because it used to be when the history of wig making is kind of fascinating. And a lot of people don't know, as far as wig making in America, Max Factor had more to do with hairdressing and wig making than he gets credit for. Of course, most people know Max Factor because he developed the first big cosmetic line
Right.
for film and television and for widespread consumer use. But anyway, at that time in the from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there were wig factories all over the country where they had big buildings where people were just making hair. So yak was more plentiful because it was the cheaper alternative to human hair. The drawback, though, was that it looked like you were wearing a yak on your head. So wasn't a way to describe it. But however, yak hair is a fantastic resource for making beards because it's coarse like a real whisker. So if you get hair from the belly of the yak, it's not really the best choice because then it looks like you've just taken human hair and put it on your face. Sometimes I do use human hair because sometimes beards are sparse. So if like I've got a hairpiece in here too that I made for like kind of like a bluesy type of character that
Right.
didn't need to have a gigantic full beard like Santa Claus. So that's a good place for human hair, and also sideburns and eyebrows are great for the bat the belly the belly yak hair.
Well,
But
speaking of bellies, you also do chest hair, right?
yeah, I
I
I
might need
did
some of that.
I did do one for a commercial where they had me carve in the letters from the commercial on the hairpiece. That was pretty cool.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
I haven't got to do a large Austin Powers like type chest hair. That was a wig
Oh, right.
that was used in that movie. And in the sequel, he had more money, so he got a better chest hair wig. That's why it looks more. But I don't know. I like the first one better for the comedy because it's definitely more disgusting. But you
Yes.
can see that the hair is just sort of like swinging in the breeze. Like, who's got chest hair like that?
Right. Exactly. It's
It was
hilarious.
like growing like a beard would on his chest. And then the second one, it's like thick and curly, and it looks like somebody that who was eating his vegetables would have. What was that old wives' tale? I think it was about spinach. If you ate spinach, you'd grow hair on your chest.
Oh yeah, isn't it just a common saying just about anything these days? Like a strong whiskey or spicy food or something, and then
Yeah,
put hair on your chest.
but I was in Syracuse, New York this weekend because we have announced the 70th anniversary of my grandfather's contest, and I was talking to a couple young men who wanted to grow a beard, and I said, basically, your diet and what you use to put in your beard in the beginning is really going to help with like your success. I mean, I was telling you guys, I'm sort of jealous of your beard because mine is definitely a nice accomplished beard, but it's not as thick and to my own criticism, of course, my eye is more critical than most,
Of
is
course,
it's not as thick and full as I want it. Now, humidity has a lot to do with it too, but if I had started out with a good product like Dr. Goodbeard and something that took care of my skin and set up a good road for success. It's really interesting that you have to even put this much thought into a beard, right?
Right.
Normally
Exactly.
you just grew it, but from my research, the stages of your life dictate how much and how thick and how better of a beard that you can grow. So if you're under even 24 years old and you would like a beard because it's fashionable, you really need these products in order to help maintain your beard. And plus, once you get one, there's a lot of maintenance that should go into it because whiskers are a lot like
Exactly.
the hair on your head. They have cuticles, which is a scientific thing about how basically your hair follicles can absorb dirt and debris to protect your face or your head. I think that's why we have so much of it. Is we were, you know, before air conditioning, we were really out in the elements. And I think there is now beards and mustaches can't protect you, like, for example, from disease like they thought that they did in the 1800s. That's why beards and mustaches were so popular. One, they didn't really have good barbershops. I mean, until really the 20th century, it was a Sweeney Todd like experience in the dark ages, no matter what. So I don't think not many people trusted a razor to their face. And they
Yeah,
didn't
and
really, yeah.
yeah, back
So,
then a simple cut could be deadly. So I wouldn't trust a razor to my face back then either.
yeah. And now that we know what we did know now about sanitation, like, I'm sure they weren't cleaning their razor blades. If doctors weren't, barbers certainly weren't either.
Right.
Exactly.
And but they believed that it could protect you from disease too. It doesn't do that, but does protect you from the elements. So because of
Right.
that, you have to also clean your beard just like you would to clean your hair.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, that Doc Goodbeard has beard wash that does beard and hair wash that does that exact thing, cleans all that up before you go ahead and start using product because that's important. What you're saying is that that's what we believe in. We want to share that with everybody that's out there that our products are made with the best ingredients. We're American made. We use kokum butter, which a lot of people don't know about, but it comes from India. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it comes from India, from the kokum tree, and it comes from a seed. And so we get our kokum butter and we use that as part of our main ingredient in our beard balm and beard oils compared to other beard companies because of the qualities that it provides, which is cocoa butter is known to moisturize and condition and not clog the pores like other of the shea and beeswax. Too much of that would do. So you make a very good point. You make a very good point on that.
And speaking of which, when you get a fresh batch of yak hair in, what is the process? Is it already cleaned and washed, or do you have to dye it? And I mean, how does that
Yeah.
process work?
Well, that's so funny. I was just talking to. I'm working at the Palm Beach Opera now in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I have a wonderful supervisor. I'm as the designer, and I was saying, I wonder if we should just get some hair pieces and start from scratch and bleach it and color our own colors. And he was like, that's too much work, man. Just get the colors you want first. So that's what we kind of been doing with the yak hair, how I approached it with the yak hair, but I wasn't going to approach it with this. And so I pick out the colors that I want and have it shipped to me. However, yak hair you can color on your own. And it's just and it's not a relatively difficult process. It's just, you know,
Right.
the yak hair is expensive to begin with right now. For some
What
reason, like
isn't?
what I was explaining, it's not popular anymore because synthetic hair replaced what yak hair's place was in the wig industry. So I'm assuming the yak farms weren't as popular, Plus, anyway, nobody really wanted it because, like what he said, it made it look like you're wearing a yak on your head. But
Well, is that, hey, Ron, is that wig back there that you're making, or that beard back there? Is that made of yak?
actually, this one is not. This one is human hair, and see, it has like a slight fluffier look.
Oh,
A
yeah, definitely.
yak hair would be coarser, and then it's human hair on this wig too, and then the mustache is human hair. So, but the yak hair also holds its style very well. So that's why it's so popular, because once you buy it, you don't have to really take it back to a stylist to get restyled as often. Where human hair behaves just like human hair on your head. It gets
Right.
dirty, it loses its shape and curl after a couple of days. You have to wash it and reset it. And when you're buying a hairpiece or a wig, you really kind of want to wear it like a hat. You want it to look the same. So when you put it on and off, you don't have to go through all of the fuss that you would if it was growing on your face.
Yeah.
So that's that's really also the main difference too. But this is a nice blend of gray, and also it's more inexpensive sometimes to make it without going through the yak, because human hair,
Right.
depending on where you get it from, is really expensive too. So if it's based upon where you're at in the world and the economic structure, there is in Asia, more people are willing to sell their hair because they might be living in desperate positions where it's worth it to them. In Europe, there's not very many people that will sell
Yeah.
their hair for a price that it's even conceivable to want to make into a wig. So the European human hair market's kind of priced itself out for the consumer. Those hair pieces, it's not uncommon for them to cost $10,000.
Right.
However,
Wow.
now I will say this too, like I focus on facial hair and so forth, but your wigs, when it comes to that, you should really go to a wig maker that has a lot of experience. Majority of those people are in Europe right now, where they have like 20 generation wig factories where they're making everything by hand. And the idea is that when you get a hairpiece, you should be able to wear it for the rest of your life, and
Right.
also pass it down to the next generation. When you're paying that much, that's why my prices are at the what they are at mustacheparlor.com. I'm a
Okay, well,
very
let me interrupt you there for a second. So you're the largest wig maker and beard maker, mustache maker in the world, and you make these products, and I mean, obviously, you put a lot of effort and work into them because
Mhm.
they're so natural and they're so good. So the pricing that you have must be from, I don't know what, minimal to really, really expensive. I mean, what is that range?
Well, it really depends on the materials that I use. And also, I cap my labor at a specific price, because if you go to somebody who's working in a factory situation, which is pretty much non existent, the knots that they tie to get basically on these hair pieces is the hair strand is tied in a small knot. And you only get better with that by practice and what's it called? By memorizing the motion and then
Yeah.
tying this knot, and it'll stay longer. And
Well, that's got to be really intense work.
yeah, it is. And you have to, you see that. I think why my hair pieces are popular is most wig makers come from like a seamstress or costume design education and background.
Right.
Most hairdressers don't have the patience or want to sit there and make a wig. They're, you know, more creative people that it takes a long time. Where I think my pieces are popular because I am a hair and makeup artist, so I always look at my hair pieces that I make like how the hair is going to grow on someone's head. So you know that term about toupees, people call them rugs.
Yes.
Yes.
You say, look at that guy, he's got a really bad rug.
Yep.
That's because the knot that you use is similar to a what they use for making carpets and rugs. And if you don't put the knots in a place where hair grows, most people will look at a grid and just install all of the hair knots in like a straight line. And as every human head is completely different. That's the same with wigs. Is the hair is always unique and different in the pattern. Some people have natural parts in different places, and some people have a wave in the back. You have to put that same kind of thought in making the hairpiece. You just can't sit down and robotically make a line of hairs, which is what the machine made wigs do. And that's why they always look fake, is there's not an element of imperfection added to it. That's what's natural. So, for example, what I explain to my hair and makeup students is if anybody's heard the law, it's a scientific formula for the law behind beauty and nature. And most people don't know. Do you know what the law of beauty and nature is?
I don't know. What is it? Doc
It's
Goodbeard, I hope.
you could I think so.
Exactly.
It's the perfect combination of perfection and imperfection. So when you look at a supermodel, you think that they're the most beautiful person in the room. But if you really look and examine their features, you'll see that maybe their eyebrows are a little bit thicker. They're not perfect.
Right.
Right.
But it's appealing. And
It's like
that's why I think people like my hair pieces, because I really I really look at that formula. And same thing with Dr. Goodbeard, is you're taking someone's beard, which is not necessarily like probably the most perfect, and if you put Dr. Goodbeard in the perfection, which is a formulated perfectly to help your beard, you've got the perfect mixture of perfection and imperfection, and then you get a beautiful beard.
That
And no
is
one,
so perfect. You just said it, man.
yeah, and you're not going to get confused that a machine made it.
Exactly, because they don't. It's humans.
And this is absolutely fascinating. I am learning far more about wigs and hair pieces than I ever thought I would know, and I am just mesmerized by it. So I am just want to take a second and say thank you for explaining all of this, because I have learned so much today, and I am just blown away.
Yeah, and I think all of our listeners out there, I'm sure they got a lot of bit of advice and some education along the way here with this podcast. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah. And I want to point something out. When you're buying a hair piece too, you have to take care of it just like you do for your own hair. So Dr. Goodbeard products will also work for your beards and mustache pieces as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, one thing I want to talk about is your upcoming contest in Syracuse, New York. I'd like you to just let everybody know what's going on up there.
Well, my grandfather started having beard and mustache clubs in the early 50s, late 40s. And this is coming up, the 1953 contest, which was publicized. It got so popular, it was publicized in the newspaper in Syracuse, New York.
Wow.
Is the 70th anniversary. So my ancestry is Polish, and my grandparents, great grandparents, were part of an immigrant community in Syracuse, New York. And they have a community center there called the Syracuse Polish Home that welcomes anybody. You don't have to be Polish to be enjoy the benefits of this center. And
Right.
they have a historic Brunswick bowling alley in the basement of their building, which a lot of people have used to become great athletes in Syracuse, including my grandfather, who was a accomplished bowler. He also sponsored and hosted. He had a cafe and sponsored baseball and softball in Syracuse, and a couple of his players went on to hold like national records for its time. He participated in football before it was really organized for the NFL, and was in the first Orange Bowl. It was between New York and Miami, I believe,
Nice.
and lots of things like that. And he
Lots of
really,
history. Lots of history.
yeah. And I'm just so proud that my company's grown small enough where I can start giving back and helping to raise money for situations like that. The one thing that, doesn't really get talked about, which is kind of the honor of the beard competition world, is that it's always for charity, and people pay a lot to
Yes.
enter into these contests, and that is always going to a good cause. So what we're trying to do is raise money in a place that my grandfather also raised money for, to help with these bowling lanes. And that's like I said to them, it's time to reopen the lanes this weekend.
There.
And we're going to have a mustache growing contest, which that started this weekend, actually. So you have 8 weeks. If you don't got a mustache, to grab some Dr. Goodbeard and grow the greatest mustache that you can. And you could probably win a trophy if you show up Syracuse, New York. There will be a classic modern beard and mustache contest, and as well as a whiskerina competition. And I was surprised about that, because when I wrote to the Syracuse Polish home to ask them if they were interested in holding a competition and we'd like to raise money for their building, the building's over 100 years old and needs a lot of repairs here and there. And the first thing they wanted to know if his women could participate too. And I said, yes, absolutely. The Whiskerinas would love to come.
That's
So,
one of my favorite categories by far in those competitions. Those women are so talented and creative. The things they come up with just blow my mind.
yeah. And they have two categories. You can have a realistic beard, like what I sell at mustacheparlor.com, or you can create a beard out of anything: Legos, donuts, spaghetti.
That's
You know,
Whatever tickles your fancy.
I think there was one at the Nationals that lit on fire that was all made in metal. Did you guys see that
Yep.
one?
The steampunk beard, yeah, that smoked.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
And there was
Yeah, that
actually a
was.
lady who had a actual beard. I think I met her at your booth. The real
Yeah,
bearded
she
lady.
was. She was next to us. They live up in Utah. The bearded lady. They have a saloon up there.
Yeah. And
So if you're ever up in Utah, go see the bearded lady. They're really nice people. There, I gave them a free promo.
they were. And they
Yeah,
actually and their beards aren't fake. I want to make that very clear.
exactly. That it is real. They are real. So, anyways, they're very nice ladies, and it was fun to hang out with them while we were hanging out with you. So, hey, when are the dates again for this competition? And second, can anybody do it online if they can't make it to Syracuse?
That's a very good idea, and I think that we should have it. And why don't we? Should we
Do it. I think
just
it's a
do it
great
now?
idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Obviously, like, people are going to want to join in on the fun. You could grow a mustache too from, all kinds of places in the world, in the to benefit a good cause. Um,
Absolutely. Well, we'll make sure that we put all that information out there on our website and our Facebook and pages and social media, so people can be aware of it, and hopefully they can get out there and participate or even just contribute.
mhm. On April 8th is when the competition will be held. So you'd have to send in your pictures and everything by April 8th. That's the exact
Okay.
anniversary. So in 1953, if you were a good Mustache Club member and paid your dues, then the members shaved on Easter, but we don't recommend that. And then you got a clam bake in your honor. So this year it'll be a buffet style awards banquet on April 8th at Syracuse, New York at 915 Park Avenue. There are great hotel deals at mustacheparlor.com. The city of Syracuse is very well behind bringing as many bearded people to us. I met with the convention bureau, and keep in mind, Syracuse is an expensive place to stay in a hotel, but the three options that are on mustacheparlor.com come with airport shuttles and are very reasonable prices, like under $150 a night
Oh,
for
good.
hotels that you can get points with big chains and so forth. So anybody who wants to travel to the contest, it's very easy to get to Syracuse from New York City. There's an Amtrak that's about a 4 to 5 hour trip, and it drops you off about 5 minutes from the Syracuse Polo Show that you can
Ah,
get right
that's
at the
nice. Yeah.
station.
Well,
And it
Syracuse
also
is
connects to
beautiful up
Chicago and
there.
Detroit. So if you live in Detroit and you want to come to Syracuse for this competition, you can get on a train ride too and come on and see us and win a trophy.
Nice.
Who doesn't love
Yeah.
a trophy?
And there's going to be an exclusive contestant bar and lounge. And oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
it
just
sounds like
came
you're
back.
doing it up right.
Yeah, it's just going to come back this weekend just to sort out all the details. But we're going to do it as a banquet style. This will be like the Oscars of beard championships. So,
Oh, I like it. I love it. Everybody sits down, has a little meal, and then you have an awards presentation, get up there, maybe
mhm,
make a few jokes, right?
yeah. And then, like good Polish people, we're all going to get good and drunk and celebrate. There'll be plenty,
And get
plenty
out
of
there and
food and
have
drink.
some good polka music.
Yeah.
There you
Everybody
go.
loves polka music when they're drinking.
That's right.
It's only when you're not, it becomes bagpipes and accordions become annoying. you
Yeah.
And
know what? Yeah.
I may have missed it. And I apologize if I did. But is there a website that people can go to check this out or to enter?
Yes. If you go to mustacheparlor.com and click on the beard contest link, it will show you all the hotel information. There's our press releases on there, all of the category information. You can compete in mustaches, goatees, whalers, full beards. You can compete as natural, groomed, styled, or freestyle. You can build your own
Okay.
beard. You can wear a beard.
Well, you're going to have quite a few categories that it sounds like.
Yeah, about 15 in total.
Nice. That's nice.
You know, you need to recognize all the types of facial hair in the world if you want to be considered a legitimate contest. The judging
Yeah.
is all going to be done to the National Charitable Beard Mustache Association's standards for judging and so on and so forth. So, whoever wins this trophy, we're taking good care in making sure the judging and the registration is handled, honestly and to the same standard that all of the big world and national championships are. So, even though I'm the only one who's sanctioning it, it will be treated as a legitimate prize.
That is fantastic. I think it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. I'm hoping that you'll have photographers there that will be taking pictures of the contestants and the event in general.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll be posting a lot, and I think it'll be, we're going to do a big justice and honor to the 70th anniversary of the Hank Wolek Mustache Club.
Oh, man, it sounds like a wonderful time. Well, listen, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, Ron. And I want everybody to go out to mustacheparlor.com and check them out, as well as coming to docgoodbeard.com and checking us out. And we really appreciate you and your what you do for the community and what you do for charities. And I know that you have a lot of things going on all the time, but I just want to say Doc Goodbeard's really happy to be a part of that.
Oh, thank you. It's always I'm a proud member of the Dr. Goodbeard Society, and like I told you many times, I think your product is something that's very unique. People need to really consider the skin underneath their beard, and I think the kokum butter is. I knew about it from hairdressing, and I was just
Right.
amazed that no one had really considered putting it into beard products in its time. And something else to really remember for the listeners out there is that beard and mustache products aren't regulated just like vitamins are. So you really have to take care of where you get your stuff from. That it
Exactly. A lot of that stuff's made from China materials.
Yeah, and it might not be. And here's the other problem too: is there's a lot of information out there for hair loss and growing great
Right.
hair that was really designed for women and can block the testosterone that's responsible for growing a great beard. And that's why you need a good doctor like Dr. Goodbeard to solve these problems and keep your beard looking strong.
You got it,
I
man.
mean,
You got it.
mine's already improved already.
It looks
Well,
fantastic, despite what you might think.
I'll never
yeah.
be confused with a Bigfoot again after using Dr. Goodbeard.
Well, listen, again, thanks, Captain Ron Wolek from Florida down there doing wigs for everyone. So please, again, check out mustacheparlor.com. And remember, Doc Goodbeard is here on the Goodbeard Society, our new podcast. We're real excited about it. We've got a new product that will be coming out soon called Stout and Suds. It's a new balm and oil, which we hope everybody's going to want to get some of that and try that out. We're always looking to do new scent profiles, Captain Ron. So
Cool.
the other thing is I hope one day maybe we'll be able to maybe get some products out there on mustacheparlor.com and people can pick up maybe some Doc Goodbeard out there.
I would love to have Dr. Goodbeard on mustacheparlor.com. I'd be very proud.
Well,
Also,
that's
I should say from that poster over there, I organized the annual Key West Beard and Mustache Contest, and that's going to take place on October 23rd this year.
oh yeah, and that's huge. So everybody get ready for that. We'll be having you back on our podcast, and we'll be talking about that specifically that whole uh, genre there down in Key West and that huge contest that you do down there. So we're excited
Yeah,
about that.
we got to bring Dr. Goodbeard down this summer for the. Do you know that there's an international Ernest Hemingway Society lookalike contest?
No, I did not know
Kind of
that.
looks like Dr. Beard. If you took the Dr. Goodbeard logo, took off his glasses, and put on a beret instead, you've got Ernest Hemingway.
Oh
There's
my gosh, that's
tons of people
fantastic.
down there that are going to be there at one time that would have been waiting for Dr. Goodbeard their entire life.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that sounds like
We
great
got to
fun.
get together
And
on that one because I'm definitely going to show up to that this year. I
And
I have a
when
feeling
is that
when
again?
I'm going
What
to look
do
like
you?
the Dr. Goodbeard logo instead of Ernest Hemingway. But when I need to dress up for an occasion, I guess I'll just look like Ernest Hemingway instead.
Well, and what was the date again on that? Do you have that?
That's an It's kind of hard to find online because it's
Really?
sort of like I think they just all show up, but it happens in July.
Well, well, we'll try to track that down for
Yeah, I'll have
everybody.
to find
So,
out.
yeah.
I've asked a
So,
couple people and they're like, I don't really know, but they're always here.
well,
But
Captain
it's in
Ron,
July.
thanks. Okay, well, we'll be checking everything out. We want to thank you again. We got to cut this thing short now, and but we appreciate your time. And Nick, we need to tell everybody what we always tell them.
what's that?
Remember, it's
It's
all
all
about
about
the
the beard,
beard,
man.
man. Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.